It's an amazing day. It is October 10th, a Thursday, thank God. 2:21 in the afternoon. I just left Chick-fil-A. Everybody, hey, Chick-fil-A. Yes, this Chick-fil-A. Yes, I'm at Chick-fil-A with my fries, okay? Now, seriously though, I'll be headed to work in a few minutes, but this morning I was doing some recording, up all morning recording and everything, and I did have breakfast. I had some oatmeal and some raisins, and so I was recording my shopping haul videos, so I'm not sure when it's going to go up, but if you see it, make sure you check it out. It's my fall haul shopping video. And so by the time I got ready and recorded and then put my things away, it was kind of in the interim of when I normally kind of relax and then get ready for work, but I didn't have any lunch. So I'm like, well, let me just go on and get ready for work. Let me just go and grab some Chick-fil-A and I can head to work from there. I'll just have a little bit more time. So I do have some time. I have some time. So I'm probably halfway in the middle of work. So anyway, just wanted to come in really quickly. Okay, so I have a few minutes and I want to talk about, finding not just your purpose, but finding things that give you joy in this season of your life. And hey, if you're not interested, just click off, right? But I think this is so relevant and so important because, as we get older, like 40 and 50, and our nest begins to get empty, sometimes it is challenging finding meaning or being intentional of how we fill our time outside of, the workplace, right? And so one of the things that I've just been, of course, you guys know I'm a coach and I'm just big on human behavior, but outside of that, right, I really like to look at, I have an affinity, is that the word? I mean, I really enjoy elderly people. And I had an opportunity as a college student to sort of work in the geriatric environment, and then I did a lot of summer jobs where I, would be working with elderly men and women, and then being in the healthcare field, I come across, elderly men and women all the time, right? So we're mature, but I guess elderly, would be considered, 75, 80? I don't really know the exact age. I'll put it here somewhere, right? I think you guys know what I'm saying. Sometimes when we need help in situations and things of that nature. And so, or post-retirement, is that considered elderly? I don't know. But let's talk about post-retirement. What's my point? I'm rambling. It's important for us to, 1, build community. Number 2, find interests in things that we enjoy doing. And they can be from the very simple, small things that don't take much money, or they could be things that require a lot of time and a lot of money when we have time off from the workplace, right? And this is just so important because it's so easy, I believe, that, especially if you're a single woman over 50, to be challenged with your focus, right? And oftentimes if our kids have left the nest or they're about to leave the nest, we can do a couple of things wrong, we can do a couple of things right. And oftentimes, like, I have met a lot of women who were single moms, and as their kids begin to, go off to college or head on to other adventures, they get, possessive, right? Possessive. And what I mean by possessive is sometimes we have to be very careful because our dialogue will give off the impression to our children that we're afraid of either being alone when they're gone, or we're afraid of what they're going to face as they venture out into the world, right? And a lot of that has to do with our own insecurity as being a single woman or single mom, right? Or a single person, especially if you're not in a relationship of some sort. And so I think what's important is that we think about how we can develop ourselves for the later years, whether we have a partner or not, right? And as our kids are able to go along with their life, we're not a psychological burden on them, or where they may feel like, oh, mom's bored, oh, I know mom is not doing anything, oh, I know she's stuck in the house. No, it's time for us to find activities and things that are important to us. And so I'm going to just share some things, and listen, find yourself where you can find it. If this is not an issue that you have, then that's okay. But I think it's important pre-retirement, right, that we create environments and activities and hobbies that are going to help us post-retirement. And retirement is, varies with age. I'm just saying season of life. I hope you guys can rock with me on that, right? So what are some things we can be doing to develop our network, right? Totally off the top of the dome, right? Who are your girlfriends? How many close girlfriends or acquaintances do you have? How regularly do you get with them for dinner, for lunch, for trips, for functions, for activities, right? Developing a social network. One of the things that I'm very, that I recognize is that all friends aren't in the same category, if you will, right? We have friendships, people we know for a very long time who really know the intricate parts of our lives, right? And then we meet people along the way. There may be something specific that we have in common with them, and we share in that particular space, or we share a common interest, right? And it varies, right, to the level of how much we know someone. But it is imperative that while we're able, that we develop some level of community and a social circle. Oftentimes people retire and they haven't made those connections. And so now, because you're not going out into the workplace, or you're not doing some of the things that you normally do pre-retirement, your circle of influence, if you will, can begin to close in, and you can find yourself really, literally being alone and feeling alone. And that can, affect your mental health, which your mental health affects your physical health. And as you're aging, that can, be a negative situation or circumstance, right? So find your social circle, whatever that looks like. If it's old girlfriends from high school, if it's past coworkers, if it's current coworkers. Working is always challenging because sometimes jobs come and go, people come and go. That makes sense. And oftentimes, if work is the connector, when the workspace changes, the connection changes, right? So just be mindful of what those type of relationships are. Oftentimes we can continue those relationships outside of the workplace if one person leaves, but most of the time those relationships sort of dissipate over time. They really, really do. What do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy singing? Is it exercise? Is it travel? You can even begin traveling if you're not brave enough to do solo travel. There's like bus trips to local parks and casinos. Even if you're not a gambler, you guys, sometimes a lot of these casinos have other things that you can do. I know that when my mom first retired, and she's 84 now, but when she retired, every few months she'd take a bus trip. She lives in Connecticut, and it'd be a bus trip an hour away to a casino. Now, she actually likes to gamble. She likes to do the slot machines. But I've been to that casino before, and I'm not a gambler. It's in Connecticut, called Foxwoods. And they have food, they have shopping, they have theater, they have shows. So there's things you can do. The bus trip was at that time maybe $50. And you meet people on the bus, you get to the space and you do your thing, and then you take the bus and you come on back home, right? It may be a local, obviously the bus will take you to a local place in your town. These are some things just to think about. Do you like to knit? Do you like to sew? Do you like using your hands? Do you like artwork? My phone overheated. Do you like artwork? Look at see what I'm looking at. Yeah, because you can start to take little classes once a week, or there's knitting groups, or Let me just give you an example. A couple years ago, I joined a double Dutch group. So for those of y'all who, jumped double Dutch back in the 80s and 90s, there is a national over 40 double Dutch club. Google it, look online. And then we have an annual like meetup in Chicago. But my point is, attach yourself to something greater, something bigger outside of yourself, right? So you'll find more joy in life. You'll get up with a passion to do something on your weekends and your time off versus sort of minimizing your circle of influence. You can expand that circle of influence, and that is definitely going to help us as single women as we continue to mature, right? And if we are not single, if we have a partner or whatever, that's fine. If we remarry, or those of you who are single, that's fine. I mean, who are single, remarried, or divorced, sorry. Those, you guys know what I'm saying. The connectors don't be connecting sometimes. But, that we can just have a happier and more fulfilling latter part of life. That is what I want to share with you today. I want you to at least think about that. Think about your circle of influence. Think about the things that you enjoy. Think about if you currently have children still at home, what will that look like for you as a single woman once they leave, right? Or if you're in a current relationship, if that changes, if that status changes, right? So we always want to be doing something social. Social activities and a sense of community is very, very important as we begin to age. And so let me just say this before I go. I talk about this often is because I am a natural introvert. And oftentimes people don't believe that unless you really know me. If you know me, you know me. But I could stay at home, reading books, dibble-dabbling, writing, just sitting in the car by myself, like all these things, like by myself, because I am naturally introverted. But one of the things I recognize is that, of course, my personality is my personality, but I have to look at how my personality is going to benefit me down the road, right? And so it's important I make myself do things, not only alone. Those are sort of easy for me, sort of. More so now, especially after my divorce 14 years ago. As an introvert, I recognize what I will need in my life. And so I have to be proactive to make those things happen. Does it make sense? So I have to be intentional about meeting people, intentional about going to activities, intentional about doing things with my sister, intentional because naturally I'll gravitate towards myself. And if you're an introvert, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're not an introvert, you cannot fathom what that means, right? But I'm saying all this to say, I'm doing a little rambling today and I apologize, but I just wanted to come on and get you to thinking about your social atmosphere and the sense of community that you have in your life now and what that could potentially look like in maybe 10 or 15 years, okay? So as I wrap up, finishing up my Chick-fil-A, eat my cookie and head to work, I'm going to be thinking about that a little bit more for myself too. I have a pretty good circle. I stay pretty active. I'm happy, but I do want to maintain that as I continue to move forward. So I'm always looking for, new adventures, new people, new acquaintanceships, and I love to try new things. So I'm out. I'm headed to work. Listen, quick little video today, headed to work. But if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Look at all the previous videos so you can kind of get to know me from day one. I'm still what I consider technically a new vlogger on YouTube, this channel. I've had a separate channel for divorce and coaching and all that before, but this is new to me, the little vlogging and stuff like that. So I could use some subscribers, so help a girl out, and hopefully you will subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you get all future notifications of my uploaded videos. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.